I was going to add one on thing to that, that here a lot of people you will hear, I don't vote for the primary. I wait until the general. And I'm thinking, oh, good, you let somebody else make your decision for you.
Dr. Carson, the last few years, and I'm going actually back a little farther than that, it seems that our image overseas has been deteriorating rapidly. You know, we used to be known as the bastion of freedom and the beacon of light, and people would give their lives or anything to come to this country. What can we do to restore that image and gain that strength back?
Well, it's a good question, and the answer is not simple. One of the reasons that we've shrunk back is because we don't have the resources anymore. One of the reasons that we don't have the resources anymore is because of careless fiscal policy and because we've strangled the most powerful economic engine the world has ever known with regulations and overburdensome taxes. So you kind of have to fix the whole ball of wax in addition to providing the kind of leadership that the world needs. Right now, the world is like a third-room classroom in which the teacher is not there. It just breaks down into total chaos, and that's what we have right now. You know, we're complaining about the fact that many of the Middle Eastern countries don't seem to be excited to form a coalition with us to fight ISIS. Well, why do you think that is? That's because they want to be on the winning side. And it's not clear to them who's the winning side yet. You know, you just have to go in there. You have to do what's right. Believe me, they'll jump on the bandwagon. But as long as you're wishy-washy, they're going to be saying, well, they're going to treat us just like they did Israel. They'll just walk away from us at the convenient time.
And you bring up Israel. You know, we've been known as Israel's great friend for many, many years. And Israel is a stabilizing force. And it seems more and more alone in the Middle East, and so you do well to cite that. What is there anything that we can do that we can assert leadership again, where we can stand up? Because I think that the people are lost too. They don't know what to believe. They're led down one thing, they're told another. They get mixed signals. So what kind of a message does our government leadership need to send to the people to show that they're strong?
Well, first of all, for instance, when something happens like what happened last week, they behead an American citizen, you make them pay a price for that. You don't just sit around and say, that was naughty, you know? we don't.
Did we really say that strong?
Maybe,
I'm not sure we were that strong.
Yeah, we might not have been that strong. But, you know, when the president came out to talk, I mean, he barely even mentioned that. And I think it would have been nice if he would have included in his remarks, you know, not only was that a barbaric act, but I want you to understand that the reason that all of your supply areas in Syria are under attack right now, you don't know it yet, but by the time I finish, they won't be there anymore. It's because of what you did. And that's just a small sample of what's going to happen if you continue that. You know, sometimes you just have to be forceful. You can't fight a politically correct war. If you're going to have rules and you say you can bomb this, but you can't bomb this, and you can just make a rule that says no war. Otherwise, you're just playing games.
Well, if you, again, going back to history, if you think of World War II, we've had wars since then, but that was the war that pretty much defined us as the world's leaders, and we haven't been that strong since.
No, we had incredibly strong people. When you think about, you know, what was happening with the world. Nations after nations falling like dominoes before tyrannical powers. And the only thing that stopped them was this nation. A nation that sent its young men from the cities, the suburbs, the country, to fight a war on two different fronts of the world. A country that sent its young women into the factories to build more airplanes, tanks, and mortars than anybody could imagine. A nation that, through its might and determination, changed the course of the world. And for someone to sit around and say, that's not an exceptional nation, they are clueless. And they have no idea what the world would be like if it weren't for that kind of exceptionalism.
Well, I know we'd be speaking different language than English.
That's right. Dr. Carson, everybody, we have people that are rallying around you declaring. You've been kind of coy about declaring whether you were going to be a candidate or not. I know you said on one show that you really didn't plan that. You wanted to play more golf when you retired from being a neurosurgeon. But I loved what you said on the radio the other day when you said that we need a fresh perspective in Washington, maybe not the ideologues and the business as usual there. Somebody said that before the last, in a very major election, but I think that you really stand out. But if you did declare and that was a possibility and you went in there, what's the first thing that you'd take on?
Well, I would first of all call a joint session of Congress and have a talk about who we are and what our roles are. What the role is of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And why we need to put the Constitution back on the top shelf and pay allegiance to it and pay attention to it. And why we will no longer, under a Carson administration, pick and choose which laws we want to enforce. We will do everything as it's supposed to be done. We will not pick and choose groups. And I'll explain to them that I'm not a politician, nor have any intention of ever becoming one. But that we also need to understand as public servants that that's what we are, public servants. We don't rule the people. We are the servants of the people, and we need to understand that. They need to understand that, and that some changes are going to be made so that people once again trust and admire their government.